Let's focus on our feet. Sometimes we put our weight on the outer edge of the foot, or sometimes we put our weight on the inner edge of the foot. You can look at your feet and just kind of check in with your arch to see if you have a really high arch or if the inner side of the foot is pressing down so you're flat footed. As we work on the feet, we'll develop the arches and a little bit more flexibility. Sometimes our feet issues are because we're putting too much weight on one side or the other side of the feet, or sometimes it's because of a misalignment in the hip or the knee or the ankle. So, as we begin, let's grab a chair. You can take your hands to the wall, or I've got a chair that I'm using. So, start with your feet parallel. Lift up your left leg. Just hold on to the chair and see about lifting your heel up and take it down. And do that several cycles where you're really working the foot nicely. And notice for you, are you pressing in through the base of the big toe, or does it feel more like you're pressing toward the outer, the baby toe side of the foot? And this is not so easy for some of us. So just lift a little bit. You're just kind of working the foot nicely as you lift up and lift up and down. And again, lift up and down. Release your left foot. Now take the weight off your right foot. And same thing, lift up and down. And lift up and down. This certainly helps our balance, but for the purposes of this, we just want to keep our hands on something so that we can take all of our attention to the foot. Like, what part of the foot, as you lift up, is it the base of the toe? Is it the base of the baby toe, the outer foot that you're working more? And if it is the base of the big toe, maybe you tend to pronate, you draw your inner foot in. If it's toward the outer foot, you tend to work the arch and you can release. You can take the chair away or get away from the wall right now and come to a lunge pose. Step your right foot forward. Have your left heel back. Bend your front knee. And do that same thing. Just lift up the back heel and take it down. So now you are balancing, but balancing on 2 feet, where you're just trying to get that action of the back foot, where you're trying to get an evenness there. Or maybe even just notice, are you pressing in through the base of the big toe more than the outer foot there? See if you can even that out or just kind of notice where you're at. And step the back foot forward, step your right foot back, and in the same way, bend your knee. And it's just a slight bend of the knee because it's not a deep lunge. We're lifting the back heel up and down, and up and down, and inhale and exhale. Just several repetitions here to kind of tune in and stay steady. Great. Now that we've got that Achilles tendon area of the ankle more alert, step the right foot forward. Step the left foot back. Now, this time it does become much more of a balance issue because we're pressing the toenails down. So I'm actually pointing the foot now. As I press the back of the foot there, not the bottom, the top of the foot, as I press that into the mat, I'm just getting a nice stretch there. See if you can possibly deepen that even more, maybe a bend of the knee. And if this becomes a balance issue, grab that chair or the wall so that you can stay steady and release out of that. And come to the opposite side. So reach your right foot back, bend your front knee, press all your toenails down, bend the front knee, just draw yourself into a nice stretch here. I probably should have kept the chair here because we don't need to worry about balance. We're just trying to get the feet more stimulated. And release your foot. Let's come to all fours position. In all fours position, tuck your toes under, draw your pelvis back, draw your inner heels toward each other. Maybe you can get even the inner big toes to touch. Walk your hands back toward your knees. Keep on walking your hands back. Take more weight on your heels. Maybe you can take your full weight. As you take your full weight to the heels, notice how the heels want to splay. Your job is to keep pulling the heels in toward each other and sit tall. And slowly come back to all fours position. Now press your toenails firmly on the mat. And with the toenails pressing firmly, draw your pelvis back, walk your hands back like you did. And maybe you can even lift your knees up. So you have that same sort of stretch that we were getting in the lunge pose, but now on both feet at the same time. Release your knees down and do that same thing. All fours position where you tuck your toes under and draw your pelvis back to take weight on the heels. As you draw weight back to the heels splay. So walk your hands back toward the knees. Lift yourself up to come to this nice seated position. And I know it's not that comfortable for most of us. So, just stay for as long as it's certainly not that comfortable. So, you may want to slowly come out of the pose and press your toenails down and walk your hands back. And in the same way that we just did, lift your knees up so you get a whole stretch on the front side of the feet. Release your knees down. Now let's come to, now I mentioned the issues in the feet can be from the feet, of course, and how the shoes we're wearing, the angle that we're pressing our feet down. Or it can even be for the hip. Let's just lie on our side and work on the hip just a little bit, just in case that part of the foot concerns you have might be from the hip. As you lie on your right side, have your knees together, have the inner edges of your toes together, big toes together. Keep your big toes together and lift your knee up. Just come to this clamshell. Lift up and down. Now take your hand on the IT band on the side of the thigh and just give your leg just a little pressure with your hand as you lift up. It's kind of like the expansion bands that physical therapists use. Lift up, you're just giving yourself a little pressure so you can really work the external rotator. And do that 3 more times. Lift up and draw down and up and down. At first, it's quite easy, but as you apply a little pressure, you start to feel just a little bit more pull there. So let's come to the other side. You can just roll over. I'm going to continue to face the camera here. So as you lie on your left arm as your pillow, with your knees forward, with your inner feet together, just lift your feet up, lift your knee up and down, and lift it up and down. Then take the hand to that IT band area and press down to give yourself just a little bit more resistance to work against. And keep the action going. Lift your knee up and down and up. And you may feel this, as you get more repetitions here. So you have to just kind of go slow. Be very mindful in your actions. Few more cycles here. And slowly come to the opposite side again. This time we'll keep our knees together. As you lie on your right arm, we'll keep our knees together. This time, lift your top foot up. So you're internally rotating. Lift the top foot up and down, and lift the top foot up and down. Top foot lifts and down. Two more. Lift up and down. One more. And roll to the opposite side. So you're lying on your left arm. Keep your knees together. Lift your top foot up. Have the toes spread and active. And just simply do these easy repetitions here, so that we can just kind of work through like the different areas. As you become more aware of these alignment issues, your feet, your knees, your hips, you start to see how it all fits together so beautifully, and you have to attend to each of those areas. So that's all for now. Let's come to a seated position. So thank you so much for the practice. And of course, you have to do these many repetitions, just not one practice, so that you can create strength in the arches of the feet, so that you have a nice solid foundation for your yoga poses. Namaste.